Well, hello guys, it's Dr. Klein from The Fix, and I decided to check out this GMB Fitness. I've been seeing a lot of their ads, and I like a lot of he had to say. Mostly he's connected with me because he's had ankle surgery, it looks like, and anyone who's gone through such things knows that, hey, that's an important part of your body. So let's see what he's got to say. I'm going to be doing some of his videos, some of his workouts. The one I did today was this 23-minute follow along. Looked like it was a little wrist heavy, so I might try to look for some of his more ankle mobility stuff. He's got one there on minimalist shoes, which I talk about a lot. And we'll just see what he has to say. And, for me, trying to push too much mobility, back 10 years ago, it bothered my ankles, kind of made my problems worse. Going the foundation training route will get me stability, but that doesn't mean that's the only route. So we'll see if he's got some good things here. And he has a whole program, it looks like, part of a team, so I can't just say him. I also like that he's always kind of pretty much in slacks and jeans, kind of like says he's not out there to say like, hey, you're going to get abs and all this and fancy muscles, which is, for most of us, we just like to get out of pain, be a little bit more mobile, and have fun doing it. It looks like he has a lot of fun doing it. That is one of the caveats of foundation training, because maybe it's not a lot of fun for you guys. It's pretty an intense amount of work. It's worked well for me, but I'm always looking for something to help, stave off this ankle immobility and pain that I have, while keeping the rest of the structure strong as well. And that's the big problem is we'll focus on an area, and the rest of the body suffers. So it looks like that he's got a lot of whole body movements that I'm excited about trying. So I'm going to focus more on some ankle stuff and hip mobility stuff. But it looks like a lot of thoracic mobility and shoulder mobility is important too for you guys. So you can check him out too, see what you think. Let me know if you've done his program. If I like it, I might actually, we're already subscribed, so we might work through his program. I'm sure it'll start people at a nice, easier pace. Just even this one today was a little tough because I had just done the Murph. It's Memorial Day, so it's 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 squats, and you run 2 miles. And you're supposed to do it weighted, but I already got my gut to weight me down, so it was rough. So definitely stiff. It's actually, I did it Saturday, and today's Monday, so it's almost like 2 days later is when it really hits you. I had one patient who got like rhabdo. Couldn't do a pull-up for like 3 months from doing the Murph. So if you're going to do that, be cautious. I've done it a few times. My body can handle it. But it's also good to do a lot. This actually is probably really good for me to do today, but I can definitely feel it. So I hope you like the video. I hope you like the follow along. And I'm not doing everything perfect for sure. So make sure you check out the daily joint mobility routine here if you want to see how it really is supposed to look. But otherwise, I'll be recording a few of these and just working my way through in these next couple weeks and share my thoughts with it as I go. Hope you like it, guys.
All the way from the wrist all the way into the forearm. Our arm is not straight, so we're not really going to be focusing on the stress past the elbows. Really for the forearm, the wrists, and the hand when we're doing this. So once again, there's going to be 10 pulses. I'm just going to do 5 here real quick. We've already been doing this. A little bit bending the elbows when you're doing this. Finally, the last one, holding this for 10 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to go ahead and continue keeping the arms straight, pushing down and through the ground, sitting back. This time, because the arms are straight, it's going to be a deeper stretch up the arm when you're performing this. We're always pushing down and away from the ground. So we're not sinking into the hand when we're doing this. We're going to hold this one, continue to push down and away. If this is too difficult for you, feel free to bring your hands closer to your knees so that you can keep your arms straight. Now, next we're going to do, before we go back to having our fingers facing that way, is having our fingers facing forward. We're pushing down and through the ground again. Elbow pits are facing forward. We're going to rotate forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep pushing down and away from the ground. Elbow pits are facing forward. Hold this one. You're pushing, push, push, push. Feel a good stretch in the wrist when doing this. This will help to do this every single day. We're going to finish off by flipping our hands so that your palms are facing upward. You might have difficulty doing this one, find that your elbows are bent. If that's the case, Simply pull your hands closer to your knees or even inside in between your knees. From here, you're going to be pushing the thumbs down towards the ground. The thumbs will not be flat on the ground, that's fine, but rotating the elbow pits forward, pushing down away from the ground, sitting back 10 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hold, push down away from the ground, keep pushing, pushing, pushing. If this is very painful, back off. Pull the hands closer to your knees. Should be no pain. If you're feeling any pain, stop it. Get it checked out. All right, shake the wrist out there. Now, what we're going to do, placing the hands on the ground, we're going to go ahead and continue with the arms. We're going to rotate the elbow pit. So you're pushing down and through the ground, making sure you splay the fingers. Fingers are very wide, and next fingers facing forward. You're simply going to rotate the arms. Now, don't let your hands peel off the ground. Hands should be flat on the ground. You just rotate the elbow pit so that they're facing forward. And then the last one, you're going to push the elbow pits so they're facing forward. Try and rotate to the outside external rotation of the arms, just holding this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Before we go into the shoulders, we're going to do neck and shoulders from the side. So all I would like to do when I'm performing this is to drop my neck down to the ground and pull the head back. So I'm pushing my head towards the ground, but I'm not shrugging my shoulders. I'm keeping my shoulders neutral. When I pull the head back, I'm going to tuck the chin slightly. It's kind of difficult for me to talk when I do this. So in and out of this position, this is really going to help with the neck. This is a closed chain neck in terms of just having the hands on the ground. Of course, the head not on the ground. So it's not a pure closed chain in terms of keeping the neck in connection with the ground, pushing the head down towards the ground as much as possible, holding for 10 seconds, and then pull the head back to the chin slightly, 10 seconds. Alright, so the next thing, we're going to keep in this position, and now what I'm going to do is focus on performing scap shrugs, if you will. Now I'm trying to pull my shoulder blades together by keeping my arms straight. Now I push away from the ground, pulling the shoulder blades apart as much as possible. Try not to incorporate the hips on this one. The focus should be on the shoulder blades the entire time, going in and out of this position, keeping the arms straight. Now, if you're having trouble with this, something that you can do is just do one arm. So, as I'm pushing down and away from the ground, this might make it a little easier to get a better feel for this movement. You're going to push down and away, holding this for 10 seconds. The opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pushing down and away. I will say, breathe through the nose. Don't hold your breath when you're doing this. Let the breath be natural, and let your breathing just through the nose, and then breath will automatically know to inhale, exhale where needed. This time, you're going to focus on rotating the shoulders. So, slight angle in the shoulders, pulling the shoulders back and down, rotating in and out. You're making circles, trying to keep the arms straight. Once again, if you're having trouble with both hands on the ground, you can then shift and go to one arm. So you're going in and out of this position 10 times. And this time, you can focus on dropping, pulling your shoulder blades together. Because on that first one where it was just up and down, you're pushing away from the ground, working on extending yourself away from the ground. This time you're pulling your chest down towards the ground and holding this for 10 seconds. Next, we're going to focus on rotating the spine. So, rotating the spine, think of leading with the chest. When you're dropping the chest to the ground, leading with the side on your lats, going to the side as you make the circle. As you push your back up towards the ceiling, focus on leading with the back, and then likewise leading with the side. So, I'm dropping the chest, pushing with the lat, pushing the back towards the ceiling. Opposite side lat, pushing to the side and dropping down. Continuing to make this big circle. Trying to keep my arms straight the entire time. Now for this, we're not going to be holding this. I'm just going to be going in this movement. Continuing with this 5 times in one direction, switching, going the opposite direction, leading with the lat, pushing the stomach, chest down towards the ground, lat, back, lat, chest, stomach, lat, and back up to the top. Now, for our next movement, it's going to be anterior, posterior, pelvic tilts. I have my shoulders over my hands, I'm on my toes, my hips are over my knees. I'm simply going to squeeze my butt. Boom, right there, pelvic tilt. Okay, also feel this in the core. Now I'm going to push my butt up towards the area. You're going to feel this in the lumbar, lower back. Any pain, then back off slightly. And you're just going to work on going back and forth, squeezing the butt, then pushing the butt up towards the ceiling. I know this looks weird, but it's going to be really good for overall hip health as well as lower back issues. Pull the hips forward. Exhale as you pull the hips forward by squeezing your butt. Inhale as you push the butt back in the air. Again, I know this looks super weird when you're doing it, but it's very good for lumbar health. You can also focus on holding that in each position if you feel the need. Next up from that position, you're going to go ahead and you're going to open your knees as wide as possible. The focus should be on keeping the hips directly in between the knees when performing. I'm going to show it from the front. I'm also going to show it from the back. Pardon me, from the side when you're doing this. Now, keeping the hands and the elbows on the floor, you're simply going to go forward, pulsing with this 10 times. And continue on dropping the hips close to the floor as you perform this. The last one, you're holding it in the front position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Show this from the side. Opening up my knees as wide as possible. I start by keeping my hips in line with my knees. Now I'm going to push back. Notice that my feet are flat on the ground in terms of I'm on the sides of my feet. I have my heel pulled down to the ground. My toes are on the ground. I'm sitting back. This is a very deep stretch. You don't need to go too far into this. 10 pulses. 6, 7, 8, 9. And you're going to hold back here for count of 10. Focusing on dropping the hips down towards the ground. Now from here, something you could do if you would like, go back to the neutral position. We're just going to focus on pulling one foot off of the ground, keeping the foot in that flat position. Again, pulsing this. Doing about 10 times. I want to hold this last one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Opposite side. 1. Pulses 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. I'm holding this. Sinking the hips down. Keeping myself facing forward when I'm doing this. I'm going side to side. Alright, from here, when I get out of this, I'm going to allow myself to fall forward and then pull my legs together. I just found that that's the easiest way to get into that position. From here, I'm going to sit back. What I want to do now is focus on dropping my elbows to the ground. And this is going to give me a nice stretch on the side here. So pulsing into this position 10 times. Exhaling as I go into the position. I'm going to hold the last from here. As I'm pushing away from the ground, pulling back, dropping down. Really good stretch all the way down towards my hip. Switch the direction. elbow down now. I can open up my arm a little bit if need be. I like to keep my palm down. Comfortable with flexibility. This again, you can open up a little bit if you need to go deeper. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and stay in this position, but I'm going to take my arms off to the side. This time sitting back and pulling myself as I push the hands into the ground. Okay, this is a little deeper stretch. 10 times, I'm going to pull this. Holding the last one. Notice my arms are straight. I'm not dropping the elbow down to the ground. Switch it up, opposite side. Lift forward. Hand to the side. Sitting back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm pushing into the floor. Pushing into the floor, sitting back, holding with your hand. Alright, then come back to center. Now you can stay in center, and what we're going to do is simply go forward, pointing ourselves into the upper facing dog position. We'll perform it. Show this from the side. So simply having my arms up to the front, dropping the hips, and immediately going right back into that position where I bring my butt to my heels. Feel free to place your feet flat on the ground if you would like. It's up to you. You go a little deeper into the stretch. And then I'm going to hold this position, relaxing and pushing down away from the floor. This is too much for your lower back. Feel free to pull out of it slightly. Go side to side if you would like. You're going to feel a little bit more in the hip flexors. Now from this position, I'm going to bring my toes back up. I'm going to bring one leg forward. In this case, I have my left leg forward. I'm at a 90 degree position. I'm going to bring my chest up. I'm facing forward. I'm going to squeeze my butt. Squeeze the butt. You notice that we're tilting the pelvis now. And you're going to feel this all the way down to your knees. From here, while keeping that squeeze in the butt, I'm going to pull forward. 4 minutes. 10 times through a pulse. Squeezing the entire time. I'm going to hold. So squeezing. You're really going to feel this. If you relax, you're going to be able to go further forward, but that's not the point. The point here is going deep into the stretch. Now, something else that you can do is adjust the position of the foot and back. So let's say, for example, there's a different place in the hip that you would like to stretch. Simply changing the position of the back foot and then continue to squeeze the butt and then go forward. You're going to feel where you need that stretch. So that's something to take into consideration when you're doing that. And so I'm going to stay on this side. And what I'm going to do now is world's greatest stretch. So I'll show from the front, I'll show from the side. The hand is going to go in line with your front foot. So laying back, it's going to push back. Rather than raising your hips into the air, keep your hips where they are. Draw your heel back towards the floor. And you're pushing the heel back, keeping the hips in the same position. I'll show this from the side here in a minute. You're going to twist, taking the arm up into the air immediately. You're going to drop the elbow towards the ground, and then the hand goes through, reaching back up, and pull in and out of this position. You're only going to do this 3 times. Pulsing is here. This time we're going to hold right here. We're going to hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Back leg straight. You're really trying to drop your chest towards the floor here. You can have a slight bend in the arm, perfectly fine. Great, this time we're going to reverse it. Your leg is straight in the back. Arms extended towards the ceiling. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, just quickly to show you from the side what I was referring to when you're performing this, you don't want to pull your butt up into the air to extend the leg. Keep the hips low, push the heel back. Push the heel back. So we're going to do this on the other side in just a moment, but before we switch to the other side, we're now going to perform a hamstring stretch, but pulling the feet back, pulling the toes back towards us. This is going to allow us to stretch the calf all the way back. So we're going to start off with our toes off of the ground. We're sitting back. We're immediately going to feel it all the way. Pulling from the heel all the way up past the knee. If your calves are tight, you might actually only feel it in the calf. And keeping the chest on the thigh when you're doing this. So if you can only go back this far, that's fine. You're going to feel it. Don't worry. Okay, we're going to hold this last one. Pulling the toes back. Notice my knee is bent. Perfectly fine. This is my range of motion right now. Pulling those toes back. Sitting into it just a bit more. Alright. So now we're going to switch. And so I'm going to show this from the front. Actually, I'm going to switch for it so you can see the entire motion that I'm doing here from the side. So now I'm on my opposite leg now. I squeeze my butt and I'm pulsing forward 10 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Really squeezing, feeling the stretch in the hip flexor all the way into the abs and down. From here, I'm going to go directly into the world greatest bridge. And beside, I don't raise my butt, I push the heel back. This gives me a good stretch here. Dropping my elbow towards the floor, opening up. This time I'm going to do the full 10 pulses. 2, 3, 4. 6. Going deeper each time. 8, 9, and 10. As I come back through, holding it, extending the heel in the back, dropping the elbow to the ground, dropping my chest towards the floor. And here I'm a little bit, perfectly fine. Holding that in seconds. Now let's open up. Again, driving the leg back, twisting, extending around to the ceiling. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This time, chest goes to thigh, pulling the toes back, sitting back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold this, pulling the toes back. So we're in this position. All we're going to do is place the foot on the ground and going to as deep of a squat as we can. Now, you need to open up your feet a little bit. Perfectly fine, okay? Try and point your toes forward, but again, you can't, it's totally cool. Here's what we're going to do this, we're going to perform circles. This is for the ankle. If you can't go this deep into a squat, that's also cool. Just go as deep as you can. You might need to hold on to something. So we're looking at the ankles, the knee, the hip flexor. It's also going to help with the lower back as well. You probably notice my right foot comes out. It's not in the range of motion in that ankle simply because I broke it. And we're working on trying to gain that range of motion in that position. So from here, hang out just a little bit more. Bring your chest up. Shaking things out just a little bit. We're going to sit down now. You can stay in this position, but I'm going to show you from the side what's going to be going on. We sit down and place one hand behind the 3-point bridge. Here, look at your thumb. Here, extend your hips to the ceiling. Pull your arm back. Do this 5 times. That's it. 3, 4. Hold this one. Extending the arm, pushing down into the floor. External rotation. Looking at your thumb as it's going over the top one for 10 seconds. And opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Extend, extend. Push, push, push. Driving the hips up towards the ceiling.